let's go back a few years to the first retreat that you came to with Igor. I think it was about 3 years ago. And I'm just wondering if you can recall what it was that brought you and what it was that you were looking for when you came with your friend.
What was I looking for? Let's see, I went to one evenings with Igor, and he said something. Oh, there was a retreat coming up, and he asked me if I was going to go to the retreat, after the darshan. And so anyway, so I went to the darshan, and then he said, "Are you going to the retreat?" And I said, "I have previous commitments." And he said something like, "Your life depends upon it," and something like that. And I thought, well, who does he think he is? So afterwards, I went up to him and I said, "Why did you say that?" or "How could you say that?" And he said, "Well, do you want to go?" And I said, "Yes." And then he said, "And another part?" And I said, "No." And then he said, "There'll be something else that will guide you whether or not it's correct." So I went home and I got out of my commitment, but I said, well, he'll never know. And so I didn't plan on going, and then a couple days before, it's like every cell in my body said, "You're going." So that's how I got to the retreat. And I just want to say this, when I did get to the retreat, I was a little nervous because, all these people, it was like a real community and a family, and I just wanted to be silent. It was a little overwhelming. So they had a silent table, and that was really wonderful. But I think it was in the second day, I was just lying on my bed before meditation. And I'm not the guru type, but it was like my whole life funneled through this portal. It's like everything I did, the work that I chose, my parents, everything came together like through this portal. And I knew that I was meant to be here. And I knew that Igor was my teacher, because I knew that I was on this journey, which I didn't really know what it was, but he was the guide and he was my teacher. And so that was, it's like not something that my mind could think, but something that came through me. And so that was like kind of, I think that was right before this big experience.
Would you like to talk a little bit about the experience that you're alluding to?
So I think it was later into the evening, and we had done meditation, and Igor it was question and answer, and I could feel this energy below me. I was angry, I was agitated, and I asked him this question that I said, I can understand my limited self, but I don't know how to hold this larger self. And he said something like, you're sitting in the paradox. And I thought, what? The paradox? What? How do you're trying to hold the paradox? And I thought, how do I do that? And I just remember, that picture, it's a vase and a face. And one way you look at it, you see the vase, the other way you look at the face, and then there's this place where you can hold both. the vase in the face. And so I was just trying to sit in that paradox when all hell broke loose. It felt like the floor was rumbling, the earth was rumbling. And from the depths of the earth, I just felt this energy come through me, through my pelvic floor, out the crown of my head. It's like it took my head off, and all I knew is there was this vortex of energy, and some voices came through, and okay, so then for a long time I couldn't really walk. It was quite a few hours I couldn't walk because all the energy in my body, it was like I was not my body. And I wasn't staying at the retreat, and I think, so they wanted to give me water, and I remember I was afraid to drink the water because I didn't have a body, and I didn't want it to go all around, and it took me a long time to eat, and so they carried me upstairs, and I laid down, and it's like every orifice of my body, it's like my ears became this spiraling universe, my eyes were the heavens, my nose were worlds inside worlds, and I don't even think I had the crown on my head open was the universe. And so it's so hard to find words for the wordless and the mystery. And all I remember for hours and hours that it was like this free fall with nothing to hang on to. And it's like every level of my existence, the layers and levels and realms and worlds and lifetimes, I just feel like I went through all these, and I remember feeling like letting go is such a long, long, long way. And it's been a process of continuing to let go and surrender to who I think I am.
So that was 3 years ago, your first retreat. And I understand that you've been to 7 more.
Wow.
And I'm just wondering if you could sort of reflect on how your perception of yourself and your world and your central purpose for being here has unfolded for you.
Wow, that's a big summary to do, but what I can say is every time I re-enter the context of my life, there's a deeper recognition of who I am. And what I take, it's almost like I don't fit in my life anymore. And I don't fit because everything that is not who I am in this stage of my life either breaks down, it falls apart, it disappears. And so I've been purging on a physical level. I've went through my whole house and my belongings, my friends. It's like who's important in my life is coming forward, and the things that are not important are going in the background. I feel like I'm observing my life from a different perspective. It's like I'm present but yet detached. And I feel blessed. And I feel like I've been so busy, so about doing, no time, no space. And there was I think it was last retreat that I felt like there was a release of all the doing that has been covered up my being. The layers of that have been releasing. And because there's focus to the space between the breaths, it's like there's more space in my house. I'm trying to create more space in my life, space between things. Because doing consume my life, and so I can't bring forward this if I don't create space for it. And so, I'm deeply, deeply grateful.
So reflecting on these last 3 years and your 8 immersions and how your perspective seems to be shifting. If you were to express in your own words how you describe this work in whatever way feels real to you, what would you say about it?
If you want to live who you're meant to be, this process helps to unfold that. And once you enter, there's no turning back. So it requires a commitment.
And on an ending note, you expressed in your actions today what it is to face your worst fear as part of that process of coming face to face with that which you've always avoided all your life, and yet today you chose not to do that. How does that feel in this moment to you?
Because through this work, I realize that, and through the meditations, that I can quiet myself enough to drop into the moment, to find something, someone, some part of myself that I didn't know that was there. Amen. Thank you all for being here and witnessing me in my words.
Thanks for
unrehearsed.
taking it on.
It's amazing. So glad I was here.
And for the first time I can say, because I just feel like, I've been called towards Igor. And I've been called to do something, I don't know what that is. And I know it's not going to be easy, but I've been called to do something. And maybe it's just to share who I am in my experience.